In this video, I'm going to be talking about solving inequalities, and these really aren't too crazy. They're kind of the same steps as solving an equation, as long as you're just dealing with one variable. And besides that, there's really only one big difference. So here it is. If we're multiplying or dividing an inequality by a negative number, we have to flip the sign. We have to flip that inequality sign. So if it's facing this way, I would flip it around so it's facing the other direction. But besides that, it's really just the same steps as solving an algebraic equation, right? We have two rules for that, basically. The first rule is we can use opposites to cancel things out. And the second rule is we have to keep that equation balanced. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. Besides that, it's really just the same concept. So here on my first example, this says 0 is greater than 3x minus 3 minus 6. And the first thing I could do here is I could add a 3 to both sides. I can add that 6 to both sides, and that's going to cancel out this negative 3, this negative 6. So adding 3 and a 6 to 0 is just 9. And then this is greater than 3x. And our last step here to get rid of this 3 is multiplying the x. So I'm just going to divide both sides by 3. All right, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to get 3 is greater than x. This sign here, we can remember this as the bigger side of this inequality sign is opening up towards the bigger number. The smaller side is closing off towards the smaller number. So as I come in here to shade this, I'm just going to start at 3. X is everything less than 3. So 3 would be the bigger number. X is everything less than that. So I'm just kind of shading off in this direction everything that's less than 3. All right. And you'll notice that I've shaded this with an open circle. I'm not coloring in the circle. And there's a rule for that also. So if we're using the less than or the greater than sign, we use an open bubble. I'm not shading that in. But if there's the line on the bottom like this, a less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, we're going to use a closed bubble. So if we had that line on the bottom, we would shade in and include that 3. All right. Let's do one more example. All right, so this one a little bit harder. The first thing that I notice is I have two like terms here, 2p and minus 4p. So I can start by combining the like terms. So 2p minus 4p is negative 2p. And this is less than or equal to, so I do have that line on the bottom here. This is less than or equal to negative 2. And then our last step here is going to be to divide out this negative 2. All right, so I'm dividing by now a negative number, negative 2, which is going to cancel these. But look at what's going to happen here. As I bring down the p, dividing by a negative number is going to flip this sign into a greater than sign. Greater than or equal to. And then over here, negative 2 divided by negative 2 is going to be a positive 1. All right, so even though I end up with a positive 1, since I divided, or if I multiply, since I divided by a negative number, it is going to flip that sign. So let's go ahead and graph this. I'm going to start at 1. And this time I am coloring in that bubble because there's that line on the bottom here. And then p is everything greater than or equal to that 1. So I'm going to be shading all these numbers that are bigger than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything. And the arrow just means everything else, even if it's not on the graph. All right, so that's basically it. Again, it's pretty much the same steps as solving an equation. The only difference is just flipping that sign if we're dividing or multiplying by a negative number.